I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. We're going to get started. I know we have some modifications to the agenda. If somebody,
if I could offer,
Brad, can you walk me through this, please?
Brad is good. The consent agenda, which is Roman 3, item D, the personnel report dated 9/27/11. We'd like to delete Roman 8 from that report.
Wow.
How'd I do it? Okay. Get you so you can follow that?
It's a good thing I speak Roman. Okay.
Yeah. And then I'd like to add an item under board business, so that'll be Roman 5, item E, a resolution of appreciation for IPEI.
And
I think it's Roman 5, item E.
Exactly, that's
on the agenda.
On I have the paper one. Right, on my consent agenda, I've got under Roman 3, number 3 is a resolution to approve the final internal audit. That should be pulled because that's a part of the regular business agenda. So I don't want that in the consent because I don't want to vote on that.
Are you sure? That's a separate item. The regular agenda is the external audit.
So what's the...
That's the internal audit from Questar.
Right.
So that stays where it is.
Okay, good, good.
No, they are different.
They're different.
Okay, good, that's fine.
I didn't see that either.
No, I'd asked, I thought it might have been on before, but this is...
No, that's
good. No,
that's the Questar.
We're good. Because we have internal, external, and in-between audits, so it's great. So,
too many.
Exactly. On to receiving hearing delegations. Anyone? I don't know that anyone signed up to speak, but no. Shirley.
Yes.
Please do.
I'm here to say thank you, Mr. Harris, because after 9 years of being here, he came to my presentation at Open House, and I was really happy that he did. He doesn't even have a student in my class. And I think it also should be said that thank you for the PTSA, for the wonderful breakfast they gave us the next morning. We should be thankful for small favors, and you don't have to go to, you have 12 buildings you could go to, and you came to my class. Thanks.
Elder didn't ask any questions, did he? Anyone else? Very good. Student reps.
All right.
I see a student. So.
I am here, yes.
And welcome back.
Thank you.
It's nice to see you, Aviv. Beaucaire, back from LACS, correct?
Yes, I am.
You didn't change schools, Aviv, or anything? So you're
iPad in tow, ready to go? Yeah. All right, so I just wanted to begin with, we're having a great start to the year at ACS. We've had a great new student orientation with our new student orientation program that's called WAM, which stands for Welcoming Allies and Mentors. And the new students are blending right into the school community. We've got a lot of new staff people at our school. I think 5 out of 27 new teaching faculty, which is a big number, as well as just other faculty which is great, and they, as tough as a job as it is, they're doing well so far, so we'll see how that goes. Next week is our annual fall retreat, and to be safe and take all precautions as to avoid the situations that happened last year, we are planning lots of different things. Community organizations have volunteered to give us survival skills. Primitive Pursuits and Earth Arts are going to be coming to our school to teach us how to survive in the wilderness, and hopefully we will never have to use those skills, but they will be there just in case. The gym floor is almost done. Thank you everyone so much for helping out with that. We'll be hopefully starting again on Friday there. We've been holding all of our meetings outside the amphitheater, so far the weather's been good, but it'll start getting worse, so it's good that we have the gym to go to. And I'm going to end off in a little bit of sadder news. This weekend, our LACS community joined together yesterday to mourn the loss and remember the life of our beloved custodian, Steve Calkins, who passed away over the weekend after battling cancer. He was well loved by everyone at LACS, and that love was present yesterday, and he always will be remembered throughout the halls of LACS. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Aviv. No other students, any board responses? Judy May?
I went yesterday to LACS and looked at the gym floor first. It looks great. It looks better than it did the first time. And I also went to the memorial service, and I, like Aviv, thought it was amazing. So different from what I am used to, but so affirming. It was very good. Very good.
Anyone else right now? Thank you, Judy. And I think we'll just move on to the consent.
I'll move the consent
As modified.
as modified.
Jay True, seconds.
Any questions at this point? Further discussion? Well, without further discussion, all those in favor? That's seeing everyone, Doreen. So Dr. Brown, on to superintendent's report.
Thank you. Just one brief announcement. October 7th will be our next Professional Learning Community Day, formerly known as Superintendent's Conference Day. And on that day, we're bringing together all administrators and teachers to do true professional learning community work. We're going to be working together around building units for the Common Core implementation. We're also going to be building common assessments on that day. What's impressive is that the conversations and the workshops will be led by teachers in teacher-led opportunities to talk about how to build high-quality units of instruction and how to assess those high-quality units of instruction. So again, October 7th, you're all invited. We're going to be in Culp all day?
No, actually, we're going to be just at the high school in various rooms.
In various rooms at the high school.
Yeah.
And along with the work that's going to be happening with our professional staff, Cornell University is also doing a fair, if lack of a better term, but they're bringing in folks who partner with our organization in many ways, and they're going to be setting up kiosks, and we'll have staff rotate through to see some of the wonderful opportunities and partnerships and collaborations that we are doing with Cornell during that time. So they'll be here most of the morning, and they'll be set up in the cafeteria. So if you have some time to stop by just to see some examples of what we're doing with Cornell University, that would be a time to come also. So October 7th, we'll begin at 8:30 a.m. and we'll be at the high school most of the day. Yes, sir.
So is that fair for Cornell programs that are involving the teachers?
Yes. Teachers.
What would be an example of that?
And so you want to speak to some example? You've been working hard.
Yeah. One is not coming to mind right now.
Some sort of math? Didn't we used to have a math? I don't know.
Yeah, really the reason for us to have Cornell come is again to highlight those programs that exist in terms of partnering with Cornell to enrich our curriculum, and that's pre-K-12. And also to try to create opportunities to promote more partnerships with Cornell. Again, one is not coming to mind, but those partnerships will be highlighted so that other teachers, particularly at, the same grade level, can become aware of how they can also engage with Cornell to enrich the experiences of our students.
Sure, and I can speak to some things that happened just this past weekend. We had an organization, SWAT, I forget the acronym, but we had a group of engineering students come down and participate in a program that was held here Saturday morning. A group of young people who were here to help mentor and connect and collaborate with our young people. So just things such as mentorships and mentoring opportunities as part of some community organizations or fraternities that Cornell will be coming down to set up shop and talk about some of the things they're doing with us. And I know that's not an instructional support program, but that's a significant support for us as far as the mentorship and relationship building pieces.
That other school on that other hill is not involved in that?
In this opportunity, what we've said is that each Professional Learning Community Day, formerly known as Superintendent's Conference Day, we're going to be bringing in community partnerships to talk about some of the things that they're doing. During the convocation, we had IPEI come in and speak about some of the things they're doing, also the EILC. And this is just a continuation of that theme of bringing in our partners to share what they're doing.
So Ithaca College will have at some point an opportunity to partner as well, and we wouldn't want to exclude anyone, would we do? All right. More, Dr. Brown.
That was presented for me.
Okay. On to school district business. Committee on Special Education. That's in your packet. It's in the listing of those who are on the various committees at the various schools, correct? I see everyone looking at their iPads, so I assume they're all engaged in the list, Dr. Brown. And Judy has it. So what do we have to do, Dr. Brown? We've seen the list and we merely have to approve?
To approve it. If there are questions, we're here to field any questions on any particular person.
Help me, Brad.
No, I'm curious, have we made any changes here? Is this a rollover from the prior? And it's a leading question in that we identify a third more in percentage than our peers in the state of New York. And I'm curious if we're ever going to change that, how are we going to go about it? And is this one of the ways to go about it? Should we be having some changeover in this area or not? And it's a question.
Yes, if you're wanting an answer for it.
Yeah, I would, because either there's something in the water or we're doing something that other people aren't. We're identifying a third more. Let's see if we can't regress to the mean.
So, yes and yes. One, there are different names here. And this isn't simply a rollover. There are new faces in different places, and there are different support folks. I do know there are different names here. Through the RTI process, AIS process, what we're doing around our teaching learning framework, professional learning communities, our human capital and building capacity as far as educators, differentiating instruction, being more culturally competent, yes, these numbers are going to shift. But it's part of a portfolio of an approach to this work. There is no silver bullet. But I'm confident that with the support structure that we have in place and quite frankly, some of the innovative approaches we're taking towards this work, the numbers are going to shift.
Judy, go ahead.
The curriculum committee has made this one of our first look at. We're interested in how many children, kindergarten through third, are identified and classified, what their gender is, what their school is, are they free and reduced, what their race is, all those questions, to see if there's a pattern, to see what we're doing, because I have the same question you do.
Great.
So,
Go ahead, Jeff.
Doesn't it happen that all of these committees somehow also have to answer to the BOE special ed in some fashion?
No, sir.
You say answer to the BOE?
Well, did they There's a connection, isn't there, between our special ed and BOCE special ed?
In some cases,
If you seek a placement.
right, in some cases, there's a connection, yeah.
Providing services.
Yeah,
Right.
that's all right. I'll,
But
yeah.
we find the need first and then go to BOCES, do we not? Right?
I don't have enough information to ask an intelligent question, so I'll come back another time with that.
I'm not sure what had this conversation. It'd be interesting to see what the charge of the curriculum committee is, since all committees should have a charge. It seems like we're doing a little bit of duplication as well, because as I'm sure you know, and Pat knows, the policy committee was looking at some of the same pieces of information, so there should be we shouldn't be duplicating our efforts. So we have to figure out what that looks like. But I think the point of that being, there are a number of folks who are asking the same questions you're asking, Brad. And my concern historically has been that we are doing something wrong, so much so that the state in prior years has indicated to us that we're so disproportionate that it causes them some concern. So whatever we're doing around our notions of special education warrants further investigation. It also means that we should all get together on whatever committee and put it in one committee and just tell board members to go there, as opposed to doing this conversation.
I think when we get the data, everybody should look at it.
Without question.
Yeah.
And I still think we should send out whatever the charge of the curriculum committee is, so everyone has an understanding. Or maybe it's just me that doesn't have an understanding.
Thorn in the side.
So if you say that's even better, we like those.
In whose side? In what?
Other questions, comments?
If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if this is for Dr. Myers or whoever, but every year there has to be approval for the building committees and special education. So part of what we're doing here is that just standard protocol of, right? I just want to,
But I'm hearing a need and a wish for deeper conversations around how we're going to affect some of these numbers, which can be a work session topic or an agenda item, and we'll be prepared to do that. We are working to shift those numbers through some structures, so maybe in the near future to do that.
Right, and anyone who's been on the board anytime at all, this is a question that comes up every year, is special ed. It's a highly complex part of public education, difficult for us to get a handle on. Also, a large budget item. So, there's a lot of funds flow through to special ed, and there's surely the feeling that we're not quite sure the role of the committees. Well, we know the role of the committees, but it's really seems to be take on a life of its own. And so how can we get control of this? And or at least try to come to an understanding of how we classify how the money is being spent, whether it's being effective. Right.
And that effective piece is key. I heard much about the classification, which we've over-identified, and disproportionately over-identified. But when we talk about the achievement for the students we have identified, that's where I'm struggling with the most, because right now they're underperforming significantly. So addressing that piece along with some of these other technical pieces create some adaptive and technical challenges for us that I'm hoping that we'll bring to you as part of the work session or an agenda and talk about our plan.
But Brad's always brought up, is frequently brought up our disproportionate percentage that we classify. I mean, are we normal and the rest of the state really doesn't want to classify because that entails a liability to the district? Or do we do it the right way and everyone else does not classify? So we don't know, right? We don't know. So that's what we would like to know, I think. So that's...
And we'll be prepared to answer our questions. I want to speak to what other folks are doing.
But for tonight, Sean, go ahead, please.
I move that we adopt the Committee on Special Education as presented.
Use a second.
Second.
Thank you. Pat, just quicker.
Okay.
Any other questions regarding the motion now? I'm not seeing anything. So all in favor? That's everyone? Yes. So well, we will be hearing more about special ed in work sessions and as we work forward. Dr. Brown, there seems to be an academic calendar on our agenda again.
It wouldn't be a board meeting if there wasn't.
This is the first time I've seen your academic calendar.
Change one every board meeting.
Are we
day slash, I think someone wrote me a nice email saying that I was the only superintendent who closed school when it was 60 degrees outside. But,
They hadn't read any news.
Not done a week ago.
yeah.
They're not aware of the southern tier at all, so, yeah.
Oh, so we had to adjust our calendar for the makeup day, and that's what's before you tonight, like I'm saying.
So we're gonna have school in July, is that what we're talking about?
No, we won't be in school.
Oh.
We have no AC in the building. So, but no, that's what's coming before you, the adjustment, and what's the date now?
May 25th.
And the Regents exams also have part.
Well, that was my other question. I mean, is this adjusted for the Regents
Regents exam and the makeup
The
day.
Regents exams in January.
in January?
Yeah.
That has been reinstituted because, for 1 year only, because funding,
Bloomberg changes?
right, funding came in, and so they were gonna have Regents in January for 1 year, and then we'll figure out what to do in 13, 14.
We're gonna have to think differently.
Yeah, okay. All right, any, so I could use a motion regarding this item.
I move we adopt the new calendar for 11/12 as presented for 9/20/11,
For the sixth time.
whatever done.
One
Second.
about, it says no school for IHS students, does that apply to LACS as well, or?
No, you have to go. Where is it?
Which,
And what would be taken?
24th to the 27th of January is this question.
Yeah, just
during
during
Regents?
I know we don't take Regents, but.
That won't apply.
Okay, great.
I think those are instructions.
Isn't that like a schedule?
I think,
We should-
I think,
revisit that,
Yeah.
because you don't have Regents exams, so you
no,
should.
but we do need a scheduling date towards the end of
Right.
January.
What did I say? I said-
We'd negotiate that with,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not another vacation.
No.
Right, okay. And there's all those other vacations,
Yeah.
so, okay, we're good. Anything else regarding the schedule? All in favor? I believe that's everyone, and so keep moving. Now on to a little more weightier topic, and probably a few more minutes, and that's the audit committee update. And that's our internal or external
That was
audit.
our external one.
Well, it's external audit. But it's our audit. This is our audited, these are our audited numbers, not the state coming in and auditing us. This is our audit by our CPA firm. So, audit committee.
Brad, you're really good at this.
Jay, you're the chair.
I'm the chair.
You want me to?
I'll let you, I can just tell you what you've got is the bound financial report is the detail. You've got an extra classroom activity funds report that's the smaller, thinner bound report. That's the clubs that, like ski club, French club, whatever, that go on in various schools. And there's an executive summary that's one of the stapled items, which is is exactly what it says, a nice summary of the larger bound. Then communication with those charged with governance is a required document. That's a stapled item that is given to us about what the purposes of the audit are. And then the management comment letter, is it a stapled item that talks about some of the findings. There's also management letter, comment letter stapled about the extra classroom activity funds. So that's what you've got. The audit committee spent hours.
It was a nice long meeting.
Yes,
With Fred.
it's interesting, and we spent a lot of time, and Representative Mimi Thusen was there from Chowski Dietershagen, Little Michelson and Company, And we asked questions, she reviewed the documents, and in the end, I think we had all our, or a couple, maybe a couple questions.
Yeah, we've asked Jerry Michelson to
Right.
come back.
A couple of points to come back.
Maybe one of them.
But that was an informational question and not, and didn't in any way
Oh, no, it doesn't change.
compromise
anything.
our
No.
recommendation for the approval of this audit. And in the end, we did vote to recommend its passage by the full board. And if somebody wants to get into detail, that's what
Well,
Brad's...
Brad, why don't you touch on a few of the points, and then
Yep.
we'll get some questions.
Okay, yeah, and then we forgot to say it's an unqualified opinion. There's no issue with
That's
anything
right.
here.
Can you repeat that again, Brad? I'm sorry.
It's an unqualified opinion. We, of course, thank Margaret and Emily and Angela for their work on this. Appreciate that. The management letter, which we will get a response to from management, there was nothing there that I think you should be concerned about. Most of those were items we were familiar with. Progress has been made on almost all of them, I believe.
Right.
So there was little there to really be concerned about. The one item we're going to ask Jerry Michelson, auditor, to come back and speak to us about. This stuff's really boring, but anyway, on page 25 of the large report, note 10, other post-employment benefits, GASB 45. I had a number of questions about how we're booking that and how it's going to continue to be booked over time. We weren't able to get any clear answers about that. It doesn't change anything. It's a balance sheet question, but I think at least the audit committee and the finance committee should understand it better, and we weren't able to get answers that day, so we've asked him to come back to speak to us in particular about GASB 45, and GASB 45 is why all New York State public entities, towns, villages, cities, school districts, balance sheets are upside down. It requires us to book the actuarial value of post-employment benefits, primarily health care. And in our case, we booked a $16 million obligation this year for our retirees and for our current employees who will at some point retire, and their contracts call for health care. That's an item that didn't used to be booked at all, and we're now booking it, and we just had some more questions on that.
It's being brought onto our books.
Being brought onto our books over a period of time.
Over time, because the present value is over $200 million.
Yeah, the present value is $200 million, but that's looking at obligations out 30 years, so it's, as I said, it doesn't change anything.
Right, it has to be reflected on our current plan.
But I bring it to your attention, on the small report, what's it called, the extra classroom.
Right.
Yeah, only the state could come up with that word. We have continuing comments in that management letter at all of our secondary schools. The most significant of the issues are at LACS, none of which have made any improvement. And we've asked management to spend a little more time on that this year and see if we can't clean up some of those comments and get a little more in compliance in that area. It's a risk-reward item. I don't want to spend a lot of money on it because the risk isn't that great. It isn't that much money, but it's money that belongs to the kids. We want to be careful with it.
Many accounts with balances of varying sizes.
Right.
Put it that way. But they have to be accounted for and managed.
Right.
So, Sean, go ahead.
As this is becoming my third audit, I'll get a chance to read these books later on, but I know each time we do an audit, we find simple stop measures that we should be enacting or finding. So I guess as folks who've been on it for a couple of years now, are you finding that we're or are we seeing the same sort of suggestions be repeated, or are we catching those and we're finding new ones each time that the audits come up? Does that question
No,
make sense?
yes, it does, and that's a good question. I think as you read through the management letter, you'll see that in almost every case, we have already responded, meaning over the course of this past year. The typical management letter will repeat last year's items in order to say you either did something or you didn't do something. And in each case, I think you'll find that we did do something. The one that you may find slightly different on the management letters, and it's listed under resolved findings, is the compensated absences, and we made some changes there. Top of page 4, you'll see that we had been handling that as an encumbrance. Auditor thought that was not the proper way to do it, so we are rather now handling that as a reserve. Again, doesn't affect anything other than how it's labeled on the balance sheet, but apparently it was incorrect. And that's the item, that's the money we owe to all of our employees for their accumulated sick days, vacation days, etc., on June 30th. And we had been encumbering it, now we're reserving it.
But that is-
And that's the new, that one is new. It was brought up actually in the middle of the year last year, and we changed that June 30th.
That is a number that we spent quite a bit of time on.
We did,
Yeah, at the audit.
making sure we understood it.
And we'll ask more questions, I think, going forward about that number, but, go ahead.
So I guess other than the finding no material instances of non-compliance and no material internal control weaknesses, which is good.
That's very good.
The only thing I kind of take away from this after reading the summary here, even though it says we actually do it, is the 3 to 5 year budget.
Yes.
That I know we get focused on producing our budget, but especially now when we might be crunched, maybe this year we can actually take a minute and kind of go out 3 to 5 years and expand that focus a little bit.
Good point.
Anything else? For me, this is always really the start of the budget season, and this is our chance to take a look at where we ended up last year. As everyone knows, when we go to the public, we offer an estimate of what it's going to cost the district to educate the kids around the district. So this is an opportunity for us to find out how we did. How close were we to that number, and where we stand. What did we actually spend instead of what did we estimate they were going to spend. So this is really we started August, September, and then we build the budget from here. And for me, I look at page 30 in the big book. That's that gives us an idea of where we are on our reserves. What we appropriated last year and where any additions that we made to those reserves as of today, as of really the year end. Did we use reserves faster than we're adding back? And so basically what I would report out, that we appropriated about $2 million out of our reserves, and we certainly added back, it looks like probably 3.5, something like that. So yes, we use reserves as part of as Seth says, that that long-term planning. We are planning really 5 years out on our reserve use. So that's always the question we have to do every budget season. Are we using too much reserves? Not, or are we going to hurt ourselves in the future? So for this past year, yes, we used reserves, but we added back. So, so now we can build the budget going forward, knowing that, sure, we're going to keep using reserves, and how is that going to affect our planning over the next 5 years, next 3 years? Go ahead, Bert.
The only other thing to say is, I think most of you know, Emily Scheidt is leaving us, the treasurer. a big thank you to her. The good news is she'll be spending 4/10 of her time managing the CBO at BOCES, so we will get the benefit of her skills there, but she is leading us full-time, so we appreciate her service.
It is a big promotion for Emily. It's not not a horizontal move. She moved up. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Emily. So that was really the basic. Go ahead.
Just, I don't know if it's a problem or if any objects to this, but could I ask Doreen to Dropbox this report, this audit?
I don't have it, but I can bring it
How did that come?
They have it, if Shasky Dieter's taking it as electronically, they can send it to you.
Okay.
Just so we can put all this stuff.
Just created a word.
Can you Dropbox this? Talk about right now, verb. Your iPad.
You're creating
There
it.
you go.
That's what I'm saying. They were great.
Well, they meant drop kick it, but
Substitution there, we created.
You're just gonna say drop it, but keep it going. It's good.
certainly there's an obligation by the CPAs to get the information out to us and also publicly somewhat. I mean, we typically have it. Where do we house this information? I mean, we
It's here, it's in the business office.
It's in the business office.
It says copies, I saw them, they're in there.
They're there.
Doreen, some of them.
The finances of the district are public. This is not a private document just for our use. We are an open book, so whatever anyone that wants to come in and review the audit, this is the state of the district as of June 30th.
Yeah, and of course, by the middle of the year, all of this will be on the state website.
Right.
The data from the audit will be up on the state website, so you can then compare it with others.
Right. If
Slice and dice to your heart's content.
Exactly. If we're not going through it page by page, line by line, on TV, it's because that would be really exciting TV, but we went through it line by line, basically, in an audit meeting that took about 2.5 hours. So we'll let folks go through it. Always glad to answer questions. Brad's always glad to answer questions. So I think we do need to accept it. Correct? We haven't done that yet, right? Yeah.
I'll
Go ahead.
second it, Brad, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Seth.
I move that we accept the audit report.
I'll second.
And no more questions. All in favor? That's everyone. So okay, that's whereas and be it resolves, and then we're on to more whereas it and be it and where it resolved, right? The IPI resolution. So this is a walk-on. Well, this was a today. There's something that Dr. Brown and I talked about with folks at IPEI. The event is October 5th. The 15-year celebration of IPEI, Ithaca Public Education Initiative, and all that they have done and all that they continue to do and all that they're going to do in the future, basically. So this resolution of appreciation for IPEI is offered to the board in your consideration.
I'll move it. Do you want to?
We move and then discuss, or any language.
I'll second it. But I think we should have someone read it.
I think we should do that, yeah.
Right, and
I'm happy
that won't be me, so go ahead.
Brad? Sure. Whereas Ithaca Public Education Initiative has worked tirelessly since 1996 to promote the Ithaca City School District community by enhancing the educational experiences for all district students and teachers inside and outside the classroom. Whereas IPEI has encouraged and nourished innovative partnerships between and among teachers, students, and community members, colleges, foundations, and businesses to advance the education opportunities for all members of the ICSD community. And whereas IPEI has been an integral partner in the Ithaca City School District, demonstrating a high level of responsiveness, integrity, community engagement, collaboration, and creativity for the past 15 years. And whereas IPEI has expanded its programming initiatives and increased the size and number of grants for teachers to fund innovative world-class curriculum projects that enhance the quality of life for our entire district. And now therefore be it resolved that the Ithaca City School District Board of Education hereby recognizes and salutes IPEI for their outstanding service and devotion to the future of our children on this, the occasion of their 15th anniversary.
More or less. Do we, is it enough? Okay. No other, sound good? All right. All in favor? That's everybody. So this language is going to be put on the appropriate, well, we'll figure that out.
All campus.
Right, and it will be presented as a part of the ceremony on the October 5th, which everyone certainly is invited to. Well, actually, it's right here. That is, it is this right here.
5:30 in Culp Auditorium.
There you go.
And I just want to acknowledge how important our partnerships, although we're recognizing IPEI tonight, our partnerships with community organizations throughout our little city of Ithaca is so helpful to the work that we're trying to do as a district to educate all of our kids. So props to IPEI, but props to all the other organizations working every day with our kids to get us where we need to go.
Well said, and there will be cake on.
I'll be there.
So thanks, and so we'll push forward on the resolution, and that will be presented on October 5th. So good. Moving right along. I feel like we need to stretch the meeting a little bit, but we're going to reprise. Anyone? Susan, anything? Other than the lockers that are...
Oh, we're just commenting that we use the locker rooms and the facility, the high school facility is really looking good, and the gym at Bell Sherman has been just a delight. I mean, the kids are thrilled. The PE program has expanded. It is so nice to see people smile, and the tiles are in place, and the roof where it leaked in the new place is fixed, so all they have to do is the punch list, is that what you call it, or whatever? Yep. And there's a lot of punching to do, but normally there's grumping, there's not a grumpy face. They'll punch it, it's okay, we have space, the kids are playing and competitive, and that's good. And a lot of the tech groups have started, so, you know, we're getting these kids ready for competitions and things going. As a matter of fact, we're getting more students than we actually have space and time, which is a good thing. So don't be surprised if people come to you and say, hey, this is really working, what can we do to give more kids access to it? I think for a marginal or minimal increase in a funding, we're exponentially growing programs that encourage kids to participate and do it. I think that's part of our goal. So just giving you heads up, we may come to you for more, but it's good stuff. And it's pleased. And teachers are on their way. We're all struggling a little with all the new demands, and it's coming awfully fast. And it takes time to get all these programs that you've been supporting in place. So I hope we'll get your visibility in the buildings and have you come and visit when you have a time. Teachers would like to see you there and show you how this is beginning to happen. It's just not all there yet, but we want you to share our frustration, but more than that, we want you to recognize our joy. We are really making progress. It's good to be able to say that. Last year was a really rough year, and we're off to so much a better start, so let's keep it going. And you could stop the rain, it's okay, I'm done now. So you could stop it.
Thank you, Susan. Anyone else? Don't see it.
I could answer Mr. True's question about cooperation with Cornell. A concrete example, Olin Library has a wonderful orientation program that I take my students to for research after we have exhausted the databases that we own for a literary novel project. Research, and then we use online Tompkins County, and then we take them up there, and in 2 periods they orient them to Olin Library, and they have a wonderful database that they create when I give them the topics our kids are using, and that's just one small example of many things teachers do at this school with outside colleges, universities.
Thank you, Shirley.
And folks should know that New York State residents can use Man Library
Yes.
Yes.
if you have a New York State driver's license.
Yes.
So for those folks out there, and for my students, I always tell them, even though the college students aren't supposed to be getting free access to Man Library, right? But the idea being you can use Man Library as part of the state sanction.
You can use,
ILR as well, right?
Yes. Yep.
you can walk in and use Olin and et cetera, you can't take books
Can't take
out,
books out.
but man, you can, once you're 18.
I still haven't been in Man Library since it's been renovated, and as Brad will say, well, you were never in there. But yes, I was. They used to be.
It was a shortcut.
No, that's where I used to go read
To the
Sports
cafeteria.
Illustrated. No, I used to go read Sports Illustrated before. Anyway, probably not anyone need to know that. Bill Sherman, I got a call from Dan Miller. I'm Bill Sherman, Dan Miller.
He sent out a
Right, so
listserv.
October 3rd, 6:30, they're having an open house at Bill Sherman for the gym, and so
Maybe we should push that
Bring
out.
your shorts and sneakers.
No, Dan Miller
Oh,
sent
yeah?
a
Does?
listserv.
right, so that's I'm sure Dan Ryman will know about that as well, but the staff up there is having a little open house next Monday at 6:30. Anyway, Seth, did you?
Just when I was on the board, when I first started back in 2005, we didn't have our meetings televised, and at each meeting, I used to announce the fact that we didn't have our meetings televised, and yet again another meeting not televised, and now we have televised meetings, so I guess it worked. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to start that process, knowing that Rob Ainsley, our board president, does not have his iPad tonight. Until it is president at every meeting, I'll have to make this little announcement, Rob. So. Wow.
And I'm fairly stubborn, so this.
Well, you probably just talk about why we have these, like, this report that's out there. I don't know about tonight, but we need to talk about why we.
You need the bigger one?
Yes, he does. He needs.
Oh no, it's not. It's more fun teasing you than Jay.
What happened to your announcements of people, staff, and doing something above and beyond?
See, Judy's trying to go positive, you're going neg. I mean, come on.
Dr. Brown took that over with the recognition ceremony.
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
I
but these
left
are
that.
little things that you could.
I'll bring them back.
Okay.
If we do want to recognize someone in a group, I will have to point out that the Ithaca High School football team did beat Vestal in a wild finish Friday night. The Ithaca-Vestal rivalry, that used to be really the number 1 and number 2 AAA schools in the state back when Ithaca had 600 kids in a class, not 350. But so that was always a big rivalry, big game. And this again was a big game. And
Northeast School.
if you haven't heard how that game ended, talk to Coach Redmond. But I don't know whether you heard at all. But yes,
Was it a design play or did it just happen?
it was not designed, but quick thinking by the running back to lay the ball down when he got stuffed. And I will point out a very smart sophomore, Matt Frick, offensive guard, on his hands and knees, got up and picked the ball up and knew that if he touched the ball with his knees down, the play was dead. But he picked the ball up and didn't exactly sprint to the end zone. I think that was part of the deception. Jogged toward the end zone, and the Vestal guy is kind of wondering why this offensive lineman was running, kind of jogging down the field, and Matt at that point got a little wondering, if the play was over or not. Actually stopped on the 5-yard line, and the coaches were encouraging him to continue to the end zone. So an offensive guard, Matt Frick, offensive guard, picked the ball up, no time left, ran it in. The score was 30-27 at that point. Ithaca was behind. Great game back and forth. The Ithaca High kids were up early, got down a lot in the middle of the game, rallied back, worked hard, and work hard and keep playing, and good things will happen. So, but Matt Frick took this presence of mine, picked the ball up, and jogged into the end zone, and Vestal was not happy. But that's okay. I'm happy that Vestal's not happy. So so it was a great night. And congratulations to a young group that's playing hard. So go ahead, Sean.
It's apparent we have no clue to do with extra time, and we don't want to close this meeting. But let me just say two quick things. One, about the policy committee, that we're going to be meeting next week, and so all the policies that were discussed last board meeting will be discussed at the policy committee meeting and then brought back to the board at that point in time. So if you're wondering what took place with those. And I don't get a chance to say this often, both particularly with the TV viewing audience as well. But I want to thank a number of our board members worked exceptionally hard. And I know the audit committee, a number of us were at Dr. Brown's presentation at Cornell campus, didn't attend the audit committee. What I've been impressed with my time on the board is the business savvy of a number of our board members and the ways in which we're saving not just money for this year, but more importantly for generations down the line, that there is a sense of forward planning. We may not do the 3 to 5 year planning budget as we should, thinking about things like debt service, thinking about things like how much money should we be borrowing, under what terms. It's been a learning experience for me as someone who doesn't have a business background, but more importantly, I'm able to see in stark terms how much money we're saving. So the folks who gave up that 3.5 hours that evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Anything else? And there is a list of the upcoming committees, correct? They're all listed there. And we don't do the reports out like we used to, but certainly this is the time that if there's any committee business, this is the time to do it, not in the beginning, but now. So, as we work forward, correct, Dr. Brown, I believe that's the way the agenda is structured. So, committee reports, etc., that should be other business by board members, and the committees are listed. So if you have items, fine. If not, then the next committee meeting date is listed, and for our benefit, if we want to show up at, I don't know, policy, maybe.
Come on down.
Yeah, exactly.
We throw policy parties.
So Susan, I'm not. Well, yeah, and I'm not sure I can end the meeting before 8 o'clock, but we're gonna go ahead and finish up. But go ahead.
You want
last
me
one,
to try
Susan?
to drag it?
No,
Okay.
You've got the last word, Susan.
About the committee dates and times,
Yep.
I'd like to remind the board that as practice in the last at least 17 years, Tuesday afternoons were considered union meeting time, and we would do our rep councils and our general meetings on Tuesdays at that time, so we would not conflict with scheduled staff meetings, etc. And I realize the board can schedule their meetings whenever they choose, but by scheduling it on the Human Resources Committee, which is a committee that the union has particularly been interested in and participated, by scheduling it on a Tuesday at 5, it makes any of the officers or those interested unable to participate. You have the right to schedule when you want, but I'd ask if you can consider either making it a little later or considering another day. We'd appreciate it, but I understand that we're not a driving force. We'd like to participate and be part of what transpires. Thank you.
Very good. Anything else, Dr. Brown? And
I'll move we adjourn.
Second.
without objection.
It's 8:01 according to my phone, just so you know.
At the clock, we started late anyway.
What